Hello everyone, JK Origami here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to fold my Origami Fireworks Flasher. This here was designed from was folded rather, from a 25 by 25 centimeter square of tissue foil. It was green on one side and a shinier lighter green on the reverse. And it was wet folded to create its snapback ability. So that's actually the paper I would recommend for folding this, a tissue foil, and I would say that 25 by 25 centimeters is a really good size for this model, not too big and also not too small. So without further ado, let's get right into the tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to fold this from actually the exact same paper that I folded this original one from. So before we even get started, I just want to mention that this is folded from a 24 by 24 grid going horizontally and vertically, and diagonally there's a 48 by 48 grid. So if you already know how to fold that, you can skip ahead to the collapse. And also, I actually developed the crease pattern for this design, as you can see here. And so, instead of drawing on the creases, I'm going to guide you how to collapse it using this one I have in front of me here. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, we're going to start by folding along the diagonals and the halves. And again, for this design, as we're making a grid in 4 different directions, we have to make sure that we're folding very precisely, especially along the original diagonal and half folds. So I've got my 2 diagonals, and with my color side up, I'm going to fold edge to edge, folding in half. And once I've done that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark a third. So in order to do that, we're going to make a fold from the very bottom left corner up to where the halfway crease hits the edge. So we're going to make a crease connecting those. But we're not going to crease the whole thing. We're just going to line up the paper nicely. And once we have the paper lined up, we're going to just make a crease along the diagonal fold. So I'm just going to line this up because we want our thirds to be precise. So I'm happy with that. And so now you can see I have this intersection point, which will be exactly 1/3 in both the horizontal and vertical directions. So now we're going to go ahead, rotate the paper 180 degrees, and now I'm going to bring this edge up to the intersection point. And in order to make sure that my line is straight, I'm going to align the outside edges. So again, you want to make sure that your crease is very, very precise. So I think I'm happy like that. So you can see I'm right up against it. Now I can unfold, and I'm going to bring the other edge up to that thirds crease. And crease sharply. And you can see that it should go through that intersection point. Now we're going to rotate the paper, and we're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. Except this time I'm going to use the intersection between the thirds and the diagonals as my reference. Now that we have our thirds going horizontally and vertically, we're going to fold our thirds going diagonally as well. So to do that, I'm going to rotate. I'm going to bring the very bottom corner up to this intersection right there. And this is going to fold 1/3 of the diagonal. Just like that. And then I'm going to rotate 180 degrees and repeat by folding this point up to the intersection. And crease sharply throughout. Just like that. Now once again I'm going to rotate, but this time only 90 degrees, and do the same thing with this corner and the top corner. And now once we've done this, now we've divided every section into thirds that we need to, just so we have our references for later on. So now we're going to begin by doing the vertical creases. We're dividing into 24 sections. So to do that, actually I'll start with the horizontal ones. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to bring the bottom edge up to the third mark. This gives us sixths, and I'm going to rotate 180 degrees and repeat that so that we divide this entire section into sixths. Now once we've done that, we can unfold. Now I'm going to bring the raw edge to the crease line I just made, and we're dividing each of these sections in half into 12ths. Now I'm going to unfold, bring the raw edge up to the center crease. And again, we're just going to keep moving the crease we're folding to up a couple. So now we're going to bring it up to this crease. Just like that. Now we'll rotate 180 degrees and repeat on the bottom. And the more sections we divide each part into, we're going to notice that the paper is going to start to fold up on you and try to stay up. So you may have to flatten it every now and then. It's a little bit difficult to keep it flat, but it's not too bad. Just like that. So now we have our 12ths. So now we're going to flip the paper over, so we're now color side down, and we're going to divide each of these sections in half. And what we're going to do is bring the raw edge to the very first crease that we have there. This is dividing this section in half, giving us 24ths. So like that. Now we're going to fold along this crease, folding it behind. And now that we've done that, we're going to bring the new edge to the next crease, dividing that section in half. And we're going to continue this process all the way until we've divided every section in half and we have a fan. The paper will form a very satisfying fan shape. And again, this part of folding the flasher can be very tedious, as it is for all origami with repetitive folds. But the end product, in my opinion, is well worth the effort. And again, try to be as precise as possible, making sure you align the edges, which will make the finished product turn out better. And once you get to the last one, we're just going to bring the raw edge up to the fan. Just like that. Now we can unfold and flatten the paper as best we can. And we have 24ths in one direction. So I'm going to flip the paper over so that we're back to color side up. And we're going to repeat what we've just done. So we're going to bring the raw edge up to the thirds crease, up to the crease dividing this paper into thirds. And the first few creases are going to be difficult because the paper wants to come back together into a fan. So just be careful and that you crease precisely and hold the paper flat when you're creasing. So it looks like that. Now we're going to rotate 180 degrees and repeat that fold. Once you've done that, we're going to again fold into sixths, so bring the raw edge to the first crease that you have. And crease the model sharply. And again, we're going to bring this edge now to the center crease. And we're going to keep going like this, once again, until we get to 24ths. So I'm rotating the paper, and I'm finishing up my 12ths. And you'll notice that now the paper, now that we have some more creases in there, the paper's not trying to fold this way anymore, which is going to help us make more precise creases as we continue on. So now I finished my 12ths, so I'm going to flip the paper over, color side down, and again I'm going to make my fan shape, bringing the raw edge first to the first parallel line. And again, we want to be careful to be as precise as possible, because it will help us ensure that the finished product turns out very nicely. And when you're doing your continuous folding here, making the fan shape, once again, just make sure that your folds are precise and that you're accurately dividing each section in half. And as you get toward the end, sometimes it becomes easier actually to start folding it from the opposite end and then make it connect into the final fan product, although generally either way is okay. So now I've come to the very last crease. And so now it's time to bring the raw edge up to the fan. Whoops, and you can even see now my paper, I was not careful and it actually ripped a little bit. So actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to apply a small piece of tape just to fix the rip, which sometimes the tissue foil will rip if you're not careful. So I'm just going to correct that. Alright, so I'll fix the fold. And now that we got that, we can unfold and flatten. Just like that. Now once again, we have our 24 by 24 grid done. So I'm going to flip the paper over so that the color side is up. Rotate, this time only 45 degrees actually. And now we're going to fold our diagonal 48 by 48 grid. So it's tough to see, but we have our thirds divided diagonally. So I'm going to fold my point up to the first third. Then I'll unfold, rotate, and repeat that same step. Just like that. Now I'm going to bring the very bottom corner up to the intersection point we just made, making it into 12ths, and then fold it to the center. And again, we're just jumping a couple creases to fold our sections into half. I'm going to rotate again and repeat. And my final fold here for 12ths. And now we unfold. So now we have 12ths going, horizontal creases going vertically. So now we're going to fold 24ths. So I'm going to fold this first section in half. And then continue along just as we've been doing before. And then once you've folded your first half, then we're going to rotate and repeat. Again, the paper, especially with these guys, starts to come up, so I'm just going to fold the diagonal so that it stays down a little bit better. And it's important also to be careful that you make sure you're lining up the paper right, as you'll notice that when you're dividing a section in half, the crease that's at one end of the section will lie on the crease that makes up the other end of the section. And that's another way to ensure precision in your folds. So now I've done my 24ths, like that. So now once again, we flip the paper over, like that. And now, starting from the very bottom, we're going to make a fan going all the way up. So I'm going to start by folding my very bottom corner up. Then I'm going to make my reverse fold, and then fold it back, dividing the section in half. And I'm going to keep repeating all the way until I get to the other end. Or actually, in this case, for the diagonal ones, I prefer to go until I get to the center, and then come at it from the other end, doing the same thing. And you'll notice that the paper gets longer going across the further we go, which makes it a little more difficult to crease precisely, and makes it a little bit more tedious to do. But once we get to the center, we're going to switch sides. I'll show you how I do it in that sense. And again, I can't say it enough, make sure that you're creasing precisely so that the finished product, when we're collapsing, turns out very nicely. And the more precise your creases are, the easier it will be to collapse the design. So now I've come to the center, and so I'm actually going to just leave this side of the fan and come at it from this side here. And now the final one, I'm just going to bring the two edges of the fan together, and comes together like that. And once you've done the fan, we can once again hold on to the two corners and just unfold, and it makes this amazing, incredible diamond shape as you do that. Absolutely amazing. And then we have to go ahead and flatten the paper, because this one here is a lot more folds and thus wants to be folded. So now that I have it mostly flattened, again I gotta go back to color side up, and again we've got to divide this half into 48ths. So it's even more difficult to see with all these creases, but we're going to bring this point up to our thirds line, dividing this section into thirds, and we're going to crease sharply. Again, make sure the paper is flat so you get a precise crease. Then rotate, and we're going to repeat that same fold with this edge. Just like that. Now we're going to bring the bottom point up to the new intersection formed, dividing it in half. And we're going to repeat by bringing our edges up to the intersection points to divide our sections in half. And we want to get our paper divided into 12ths, which is what we're doing now, then 24ths. So there's my 12ths on one side. I'm going to rotate and repeat on this side. Now that you've done that, we're going to go ahead and divide into 24ths, dividing each section into half. So now I've got my 24ths done on this side. I'm going to rotate and repeat on this side. So there's my final 24th. Now I'm going to flip the paper over, and once again we have to make one final fan. So I'm going to start by folding the corner up, and I'm going to fold behind, and you already know the drill by this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue folding the fan. And once again, as I do it on this side, I'm going to stop at the middle and come at it from the other side. Just because, again, I find that easier. Although it's perfectly valid if you just want to continue across the middle by folding it into a fan. So now I'm at my final fold before the center. So I'm just going to bring it to the center. Now I'm going to come from the other side, so I'm going to start by folding this corner up, fold it behind, and then continue along. Once again, we're almost at the end of folding our grid, our pre-creasing for the flasher, and then we get to collapse it. And we're approaching the end of this tedium. Quite soon we'll be right at the collapsing stage. So, once again, now we're just going to make the final fold to get to the center. And there we go, we've completed our final pre-crease, and with a deep exhale, we can now open this back up, and we're all set to collapse. So, this is the crease pattern here that I made for the design. I folded it, or I made the crease pattern rather, showing color side up, the way the folds go. The red is the mountain folds. The blue is the valley folds. And so we're just going to jump right into collapsing. So as you can see from the corner, we've got to make a diagonal fold, and it goes 3 units to the right. So you notice we have these squares that are showing behind. We got to fold diagonally through 3 of them. So just like that. So once we've done that, we'll notice that we're going to make a fold going 1 down. So I'm going to make that fold going 1 down, and at the same time, I'm going to allow the valley fold behind it to form. So I'm making this corner. So, like that. So I'm starting like that. And this will go down 1, and then we're going to have the mountain fold, again, go up 2 units. So I'm going to take my mountain fold, fold up the 2 units. So now it looks like that. And again, at the same time on this side, I'm going to let the valley folds form and form this corner. So I'm going to make that a mountain fold, allow the valley folds to form behind. So you can see here that the valley fold goes on the same pattern. So I'm just going to let that form. And now here for this little square, we're going to form a mountain fold. And so this should start to come together. folding along existing creases, which we so painstakingly pre-creased. So it looks like that. Now, we take a look up here. The mountain fold that went from the corner went up 3 units. The valley fold that goes behind it goes also up 3 units, and the mountain fold behind that goes up 3 units, but here it comes to a point. So we're going to fold the valley fold, which we're just going to go ahead and pop this layer forward, and it automatically forms the mountain fold for us. Now, we have this mountain fold, and this valley fold is starting to form, and we also want to form this mountain fold too. So we have the mountain fold. We want to just push this paper in to extend it, and the valley fold behind is forming, and now we want to fold a mountain fold once again behind that on the existing crease. Just like that, and we're going to make the corner nice. Now, on this side, we got to make a valley fold here, and we can kind of push it together. And now behind here, we're going to make this a valley fold, and make a valley fold going this way, popping this paper into a mountain fold beside it. So, you got to kind of extend the creases a little further than they actually have to go, just to make sure that it holds. And so now in this corner, we're going to pinch this layer, pop the paper out behind it, creating a valley fold, make our pinch in the corner here, popping this paper out as well, like that, and then we're going to make mountain folds there to push that layer in. Now you can already see it starting to form the structure of the corner, and so now we got to make this mountain fold here that goes behind. So, we notice that it goes actually 2 units. So, I'm going to make that mountain fold, and it's going to go 1 square, 2 square, so it's going to go up to there. And from that point, it's going to taper off, and we notice that we have these points and these points, and there's going to be a mountain fold going this way at the end of it. So I'm going to take a look. We can see that we have our 2 units, and so I'm going to make a mountain fold right at the end of that. And I'm going to push down here so that the corner comes out, and you'll notice that it comes together like that. And now on this side, we got to make this corner come down. So I'm just going to pop the paper out over here, creating the corner, and same thing here, and there, and there. Just like that. Now, we're going to once again look at this side here. You can already see the structure starting to come together. So, we folded this original mountain fold here up 2, so now it's got to come down 3. So, 1, 2, and so from there, we got to force the fold to come. It's coming down this way, like that. And now we're going to make the folds under here. So we're going to pop the valley fold to come out, creating a mountain fold. And we're going to make the valley fold in here. Now what happens here is that our mountain fold, it shows it only goes 3 down. So it has to stop here. So we're going to go ahead and count out our 3. So our mountain fold is this one. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and it stops here. So I'm going to make the corner like that. So 1, 2, 3, and then it extends out this way. So again, we got to make our corner properly. And on this side too. Whoop. So now it looks like that. And so now we're going to continue to follow the progress of that mountain fold. So we notice it starts in the corner, goes up 3, down 1, up 2, down 3. Then it goes up, actually, 4 units. 4 units. So for now, we're going to extend it 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can create a corner And now underneath, we're going to once again create the folds. And it's a little bit difficult to do. It's a little bit difficult in this area that hasn't been creased yet. But as we make our way over, it's going to become easier and easier. And so now we got to make this a mountain fold behind it that already wants to form, like that. And again, we're just making some valley folds and mountain folds that are following this exact same pattern. So just like that, it's a good start. And we want to make sure that our corners are nice and crisp. And now we're going to extend the creases here. So I'm going to make that one, make that one, make that one. And at this point, I'm going to actually stop on this section for now. And I'm going to come back over here. And I'm going to go ahead and work more on this inner structure a little bit. So we can see that we have up until this intersection. And so now we've got to fold this part right here. So we notice that there's a mountain fold that we already have. We need to make a valley and then the intersection point, which is surrounded by valleys and mountains. So we're going to work on doing that. So again, we notice that this part goes down and this part pushes down, and this part here becomes a mountain fold. You can see kind of what I'm forming. So this mountain fold goes to here, then it comes this way, and then back this way. And so we want to form this corner, like that, pushing this down, and this here is starting to form. It's a little bit tricky, so we want to make this corner, and we want to pop out the layer in front of it, making that corner, and then the layer in front of it goes down, making that corner, and then this layer comes up, making the next corner, and then this layer finally comes down to make the final corner. So it looks like that. And now I'm going to sort of push this layer in a little bit. And so now we get the general shape for this side. So now we're going to go ahead and rotate, and I'm going to repeat for this side. So I'm just trying to start just like we did before. So this goes up 3 layers and then comes down 1. So I'm going to make my corner. And again, behind it, we want the mountain folds, or rather the valley fold and the mountain fold to form. Again, I'm just creasing the corner. So if I once again look at the crease pattern, since it's symmetric all the way around, I can just keep my eye on this corner. So we've gone up and down and up, and then we got to go down 3. And we notice that there's a valley fold behind it, and the mountain fold is what intersects with this fold right there. So we have our original mountain fold going down 1, and then back up another 2. And now we have the valley fold behind it. And now we can go ahead, and with this mountain fold, it intersects here another mountain fold. So I'm going to create it, and it has a corner here. So I'm just going to make that pop up the right way, and then make my mountain folds again, just as we go along. We can already start to collapse this section a little bit just to reinforce the creases, just like that. And now we're going to do the same thing here, so I'm just creating my creases just like that. And again, if we take a look at the original mountain fold from the corner, it goes up 3, down 1, up 2, and then down 3 again. So here it's gone up 1, 2, so I'm going to make my corner, and it's going to go down 3 like that. So this is where having tissue foil comes in handy, because it really holds the shape quite well. So I'm just making a few creases behind and in front. So like that. So just like that. And then I'm going to pop this corner into place. So you can see it's coming along. And so now we start to get intersection between the corners there. So I'm going to look a little further down the crease pattern, and we're going to follow the course that original mountain fold. So 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we said the 4. So I'm going to fold it up 4. So again, here, 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 and then it goes up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and here it intersects with that crease and forms a corner. So now I can do the same thing with the crease behind, just popping it in and out of place. Just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing in the front here, just remaking these creases that have started to come undone. And then now you can see it comes together nicely. And in the same thing here. So if we once again take a look at the crease pattern, this mountain fold here goes 1, 2 squares. So I'm going to make it inside here just the 2 squares. In which case what happens is it actually branches off into these corners coming back, and there's a mountain fold that intersects it going the other way. So I'm going to make that mountain fold that intersects it right there, and bring it right to this existing corner. And so now this mountain fold again comes out like that. If I just extend it a little bit this direction, a little further than it needs to be, I can then force these creases into place. Just like that. And so once again, I can just continue this fold around what I already have. Just like that. Now again, I'm going to restart with this corner. And by now I think we've got the drill down. We're going to go 3 up starting from the corner, then 1 down. And I'm going to allow the creases behind to fall into place. Just like that. And now it's gone down 1, so now it's going to go up 2, and then down 3. So I'm just going to try to form, I guess you could call them the elbows. I like to call them the corners. And you can see how it's coming together really nicely. So like that. And here, this mountain fold continues, forming another corner or elbow, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm just going to, once again, make the creases in front. And so now this goes up 2 and then comes down again. So, just like that. So, this mountain fold comes like that. And I gotta push in the corner. And make this mountain fold here, which goes some distance. And then I'm going to make this mountain fold in the middle again, that goes 2. And then is intersected by this other mountain fold. And so now this corner here is coming together. Like that. And again, I'm just going to make the creases out here so that it folds nicely. Like that. And at this point, we can already see it coming together. So if we go ahead and take a look at the crease pattern again, we know that this goes down 3, this original mountain fold. So it stops there, and then this goes up 4. So there's a little elbow here that we haven't created for that section yet, but that's okay. So actually, let's go do that now. So if we look at this section, and we've looked at this part here, then we go 2 layers over, and this mountain fold forms an elbow there. So we're going to make the valley fold and then the mountain fold. Just like that. And then we're going to make, so we made the valley, now we're going to make the mountain. And this section here creates the corner, or the elbow. And we got to make a mountain fold over here. So just like that. And then we form our elbow. And we gotta continue the elbow down here so that it wants to be reinforced. Just like that. And it comes up like that. And then we have to have our one final elbow, which we can form again by doing this. So this will come up 1, 2, 3, and 4, forming an elbow up there. And then we can continue our other creases coming down. And so we're wrapping ourselves about 3/4 of the way around the edge. So we're getting close. So now I'm going to stop with this section. Actually, I'm going to fix up these creases first, which are hugging the wrong corner there. And it's starting to come together. Now we're going to do this final corner here. So this crease comes up 3, then down. Then I'm going to form the elbow and the creases behind it. So it comes up 3, goes down 1, then it goes up 2, and I'm going to make the mountain folds and valley folds that accompany it, just like that. And so this part here goes up 2, and then comes down 3. And then goes up again. And so, once again, I'm just creasing this section, making my folds, just like that. And now this part up here, we have this mountain fold, and we extend out this way. And we have this fold here, we create a mountain fold. Actually, we have to create our elbow here first, so I'm just folding the corner and creating my creases along here, like so. And now I'm going to fold down, like that, and you see it comes together really nicely. It's starting to collapse. So now this crease here goes 2, and then we get to create our mountain fold. And this elbow comes nicely. And we make this mountain fold, and it connects nicely, and we have to create our new elbow here. Like that. And so now this side here is actually pretty close to done in terms of collapsing. We just have to do our final collapse. So now, once again, if I take a look at the crease pattern, and I'm looking up here at this section, we have our fold there, and then it comes this way, going that way. So what we have to do is we have to make our valley fold, and our corner connects here, and we connect it to a second corner. So we have our valley fold that I just referenced going this way. So I'm going to make my mountain fold here. And what we have to do is connect it up to this existing corner. So I've got my valley fold, my mountain fold, here comes the corner, and then I gotta connect it up to there. And so when we take a look, this section will form this 2 elbows. One of them protruding outward, one of them protruding toward the center. And so as we're collapsing this section, we're going to, once again, make sure that all the other sections are coming together as well. So here we got that. And we're just going to keep making new creases. And so here what happens is we have our nice spot here where it comes together. We're going to pop this out. And now we create a mountain fold coming from this section. And we create our arm or our corner coming this way, just like that. We fold that paper up like that. It just comes as a valley fold and mountain fold behind it. So now we're forging toward the center. And again, we got to make these two creases, which should start to form naturally. And I'm going to push down on that. And as you notice here, we come into this section. So I'm just going to make a fold here to go along with it. And form the elbow. And then here. And now with this side, we have most of the creases formed, so I'm going to go ahead and do this side. And so now, again, we got to push this section down. And we form our mountain fold. Right, just like that. So if we come ahead and take a look at the crease pattern again, we can see that this part here has got to be a mountain fold in the center. So we know that this is our center here of that new arm that's being folded. And so this part here becomes a mountain fold behind. And it's going to connect here with this arm. And we got to make a mountain fold and valley fold behind it. So we form that mountain fold, form the valley folds as well. And once again, make sure that the creases form nicely behind. And don't worry too much about how far they go, because we're going to, once again, correct them and collapse them later. So, section is starting to come together. Like that. So again, I'm going to take a look at this side. And now for this side, the folds are coming undone a bit, so I want to make sure my original crease goes 3, then 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I gotta form my elbow. Like that. And so for this section, I'm just going to fix up the creases a little bit. They've started to come undone, which will happen, and then you just have to correct them before you continue on. So actually, I'm missing an elbow here. Don't know how all this came undone so much, but I'm missing the elbow there, so I just gotta recreate the creases. Like that. And now again, I'm just going to check that it comes up 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is where my elbow is. And then I'm going to fold all the creases inside. Just to make sure that things come together. So now I've got this part, so I'm going to force my my valley fold to come together and conform it here to the elbow with the mountain fold. And I gotta make this next mountain fold behind and form the elbow, the connection, and this mountain fold behind has no intersection with that, so it's just going to form like so. And now I gotta form this right there. And I'm forming just my mountain folds and valley folds to conform with what we have. And so I gotta conform it to this elbow as well. And as you can see, we're drawing ourselves closer and closer to the center. So it becomes a little more difficult to create the new folds as the paper wants to collapse in certain ways that it's not meant to, but you just have to force it to come. So now this section's getting a little bit difficult to work with, so I'm just going to make sure that my other sections are okay. So here, let me just double check my main crease. So it's going 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's our problem. It's going 5. So I only want this to go 4. So I'm going to adjust the elbow so that it comes to this 4th square. And that'll happen. Sometimes we'll miscount or whatever, and we just have to correct the creases. And it is a little bit fiddly, but the more we do, the more collapsed it becomes. And so now that we've corrected that, we can adjust our corner, make our mountain fold behind, adjust our corner. Just like that. And so now I'm going to form my section here where the two corners come together here in the center. And once again, it's for the same reasons as before. It's becoming difficult to work with because we're drawing so close to the center and the center wants to collapse, but it's not yet. So now we're actually going to go ahead and move our way toward the center. So here you can see this is the shoulders coming, or elbows coming together that I was telling you about. So it comes here, the mountain fold comes here, intersects with this, and continues this way to intersect with the other crease, and it forms a new elbow. So we're going to form that elbow with the mountain fold, and notice it goes 3 down, and then it comes to the center. So that's what we're going to try to fold here. So we have our center, comes up here, intersects with this corner. So that's what we're going to try to allow happen. So again, kind of have to do it on all the creases at the same time. Because what we're trying to do is we have this, we're trying to get this to form, which will come and just check the crease pattern. It's coming to connect with this already existing elbow. So we have to make sure that we have the existing elbow, which is, I believe, this one. It's got to come together. So now what we're doing is got to do it on all the sides at the same time. So with this side here, I have it the most collapsed, so I'm going to start with this one actually. And for this little, this elbow, I'm going to continue to crease it until it comes to meet this mountain fold. So I just want to make sure the elbow is standing strong. So this mountain fold here now connects with this elbow. And you'll notice it's already starting to form a new elbow. And this right here is going to go 1, 2, 3, and here this corner intersects the very center. And so this part right here is the very center. And so now we have to go ahead and repeat this with all the other sides. You can see it's already starting to form. So for this side, we can work from the inside out. So this is going to come here like this, and then form right there. And you can see the crease coming together, just like that. And actually this crease here came undone a little bit, has to be like this, come together like that, and that way when we fold it shut, it's going to start to push in on that hinge. And so now we're going to do the same thing over here. So I'm just going to force the creases to come together right around the center. And I'm just popping out the creases, forming the corners, just like that. And there we go. Now, I'm just going to fix up this corner. You can see it coming together. And so, now I just got to fix up this guy and that guy. Oh, and actually, it looks like this corner is a little bit off. I got to double check. So this is going to go 3, 1, 2, and then 3. So yes, this edge is a little bit off. It was over by 1, and so that's causing us a bit of trouble. So again, you can draw the crease pattern on if you want, and it may be a bit helpful, but otherwise you can just collapse it from either the tutorial or the crease pattern. So now you can see we have this side folded. Now all we have to do is fold this one, and the folds are already coming together for us. So we just have to guide them a little bit so that they form on the existing creases. So that folds down, that folds down, this guy here also folds down. And now we have all our creases folded. And so this part here is also a little bit fiddly. Now that we have that, we gotta go around, make sure everything is folded nicely, like correct some of the corners or edges that aren't quite folded properly, although I think mine is pretty good. So now what we do is, I like to do this still with the white side up. We're going to start to force the paper to come together. So I'm going to form the creases that are having a bit of difficulty. And I like to force it together starting from both the edges, like the very outside, and the middle. So the edges, you can see, are already coming together very nicely. This part here again. And from this side, you can see we want this part here to come like that. You can see it's starting to come. And again, this section is coming a bit undone, so I'm just going to collapse it. So now, once again, we got to make sure that everything is coming together properly. And here again, this section here formed wrongly. And let me just double check again. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, this right here is forming wrongly. Sometimes the creases will jump on you just ever so slightly. And yeah, it happens. Anyway, here we go. Now this is coming together. And it comes together very nicely. And the same thing with this section. And we're trying to fold multiple sections at the same time. So I'm just starting out, and again, I want to make sure that this part comes together properly. There we go. And here it's coming together very nicely, now that we've got all the creases the way we want them. And as we start to fold the different sections, the whole thing will start to come together as a whole. And just be careful of the center. You don't really want to press it too much. So you can see I can fold this one really big section together all at once, and this is just the steps that we have to take to get it to come together. So just bringing bigger and bigger sections together along the collapsed creases. And if there's any creases that don't want to form properly, you can go ahead and fix them. And so now that we've got the sections coming together, we're going to start to fold it clockwise. So now we're going to be color side up, and we're folding clockwise around the center. And we're not really folding, we're more pulling the layers. And as the layers come together, this is a bit fiddly, and it takes a bit of time, but you just keep going around until you can get all the layers to come together. So again, my center is already becoming a bit deformed. I like to put a little square piece, you can cut it out of cardboard or whatever, put it in the center, just so the center stays nice. And just gotta keep folding the layers around on the existing creases. And if you keep going, then you'll eventually get like that. It'll come together. Throw an elastic around it, dip it in some water, and let it sit to dry. This will lock it into place, and then you'll have your nice flasher. You can see with this one, you can already sort of do that. But once again, finish wrapping it up, put it into water, and you'll have it. And once again, this is the crease pattern for the design. So congratulations if you made it all the way to the end and you've successfully folded yourself one of these fireworks. I think it looks really nice. And once again, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and more importantly, were able to fold the model. Please leave feedback in the comment section down below, and also any suggestions for future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, enjoy.